We count it a privilege to be able to highlight up-and-coming Canadian artists whose purpose is to use their talent to bring glory to God. And Jill Hagen is such an artist. She tours with her band across Canada and the U.S. and has been nominated for 5 Canadian Gospel Music Awards, including Artist of the Year. And we'll get to enjoy Jill's music in a moment. But first, let's take a few moments to chat with her. Jill, welcome to 100 Huntley Street.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So good to have you. Okay, I have to tell you that we popped your CD in the car on the way to the studio today. Really liked it.
Oh,
you have a very fresh sound and just a happy sound.
Thank you, yeah.
You know what, but what I like about your music, Jill, and you write your own songs,
Yes.
is that right? Is although the music is happy, you have a lot of depth. And I know that, give me the CD, honey, I have to take out my reading glasses if I'm going to read this quote.
That's okay.
By, go ahead and say it.
That I don't need reading glasses yet? I wasn't going to say that, but she said go ahead.
He is older than me, but he does not need reading glasses yet. No, right on the cover of your CD is a quote by C.S. Lewis. He says, "If I discover within myself a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world." So C.S. Lewis had an influence on your writing. Tell me, what does that quote mean to you?
Well, the CD itself was called Room for the Ordinary. And I actually was a teacher for a few years before the Lord called me full out to leave my job and to go out and do ministry full time. And so when you jump into something you know nothing about, I felt really unconfident, not knowing what I was getting into. And when you jump into that, it's amazing what God does in your life. You go through these kind of lows because you're trying to figure out what you're doing, and you're going through these highs. And you realize that your faith increases through all these things. And as you think about the world you live in and everything around you, I love this title of this album. It's called Room for the Ordinary, living in a world that's different than what you see around you, right? And when you live by faith in what God has for you, man, what you see around you is so different, and you live for the eternal, and you don't live for yourself in the same way.
I think the Bible even says that God has placed within the heart of man eternity. We know instinctively that we are made for more than what we're experiencing right now. So when you say ruined for the ordinary, it's living that extraordinary life, and you're really helping us all to experience it through your music.
And so that was a huge step for you to go full-time and to leave, you know, everything familiar and comfortable and take that step of faith. Let's back up a few steps back as far as when you really started to develop and realize you had this gift.
You know, to be honest, it took a lot of convincing. I felt the Lord calling me to actually go and make an album several years ago. And I had been writing songs in my basement and had no plan to do anything with them. I was worship leading in the church, but there was no plan. I just wanted to write, and it was my expression to God, or it was an expression just of myself and what I was going through. So to bring your stuff out to the world is very vulnerable. You feel like you may get attacked in what you brought out, you know, like
this is your baby. This is revealing a deep place of you.
It is.
And you're sharing it with the world, and you're not sure how they're going to respond to it.
It's true. So that was a really, it took a lot of convincing from family members to even use your gift, you know, and as you go out and use it, the Lord just has increased it and increased it as I went. You know, God's been so good to me, so.
Now, this September, there's a couple of things happening. One is you were chosen from worship leaders and artists across Canada to be part of a compilation CD that we'll be highlighting in September. But there's something else pretty important in your life happening in September.
Very important. What's going to happen on September the 1st, Jill?
Oh man, I am getting married. Yay. So I'm really excited. I'm getting married to a guy named Mike Jansen, and we met on one of my tours.
So this is not the Mike Jansen that many of our viewers would know,
no.
who wrote our opening theme song music. This is a different Mike Jansen.
It is. It was pretty funny. We met up at the GMAs this last year, the real Mike Jansen, you know. And my Mike Jansen thought he should get up and get the award for the other Mike Jansen.
Funny.
Well, he's a special guy in your world for sure. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're excited, and maybe next time you come back, you'll bring some wedding pictures with you. We'd love to see that.
Now, the song that you're going to sing in a few moments, The Price, that you wrote, can you share with us kind of the story behind that song?
Yeah, this is actually right before I went into ministry in 2008. And I was just praying, and I was awake, and it was so strange. I actually got a vision. And it was this vision of me walking up to the steps to the throne of God. And I was walking up, and everything was just pristine. Everything was perfect. And I looked down at myself, and I was completely dirty from head to toe. And I knew that I was going to go and see God this way. And so it was just this experience of feeling this, oh my goodness, I'm going to get to the throne of God, and I'm going to be rejected. And I ended up at the right-hand side of God, couldn't see him or anything, but I just fell flat on my face, and I covered up my head. I didn't want to be seen, for the fear of rejection was going to be huge. And in this vision, Christ just reached out his hands, and he touched my face. He just touched me on my cheeks. And as soon as he did that, my whole body went completely clean. And that is how he presented me to the Father. And it reminds me, you know, very much of how the Father says we are clean and holy and blameless before him through Christ and what he's done for us on the cross. So I got into ministry. I not only realized that I loved God, but I realized that I owed him my life. And so I said at that moment, I said, God, I will surrender whatever you want me to do. And here it is. He got me doing music. And so it's been amazing.
And beautiful music it is as well. Jill, we're going to ask you now to make your way over to the piano because we're going to get to enjoy The Price now. Go on over.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, hand me that CD again, hon, because we have the privilege of, now that we have this CROSSROADS Estore, of making available, you know, some of the books or music that some of our guests who come by have available. And so we have on the Estore her CD called Ruined for the Ordinary, Jill Hagen. And so you can call, you can go online, crossroads.ca, and request it right there, or call 1-800-265-3100, and so you can purchase your copy. And I would encourage you, maybe you have a younger person in your life that you're saying, I would love to influence them with some great music. And you might want to purchase a copy, not only for yourself, but for someone else as well. Because each generation, it's wonderful to see people of various generations with different styles of music, all for the same purpose. And when we get to sit down and hear from the heart of an artist like Jill, it just has that extra connection that you realize, okay, this person is being used by God to reach out through music, and that's where their heart is, for sure.
Well, now it's time to enjoy the music of Jill Hagen. Here she is with The Price.